Hello, beautiful people of the internet. How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a book haul. I'm going to be sharing all of the books that I have acquired over the last 5 months or so. I think I have a stack of about 11 books to share with you today. First up, earlier this year I went on a trip to Portugal, and in Porto I went to this bookstore known as Livraria Lello. My apologies if I'm not pronouncing that right. But when you buy a ticket to visit this very beautiful, ornate bookstore, you can get a ticket where a free book is included with the ticket. It's not actually free because you paid for the ticket, obviously, but you get to pick out a book from their classics collection and you get that for free, included with the price of your ticket. So I picked up 2 books there, one for my ticket and also one from my mom's ticket because she didn't want the book. And so what I ended up picking up was Dracula by Bram Stoker, because this is a book that I've really wanted to read. And I also got, honestly, a book that wasn't on my TBR, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. This one I just got because it's really small, it's not a big read, and it was one of the few books they had in the English language that I didn't own already and hadn't read. So I figured, hey, let me get this and I'll see what it's all about, if I like it. I mean, this one is really tiny, so it's not a huge commitment. I'll hold it closer to the camera so you can see. This is just part of their classics series, their special editions they make at the bookstore, and they did have titles in various languages. There was English, Portuguese, Spanish, French, I think also like Chinese, and various other languages, so visitors from different parts of the world can get books in their native languages. And then I also got Dracula because this is a classic that I've wanted to read. I think maybe I'm gonna try to read it this October for the Halloween vibes, you know, a good vampire story for the spooky season. So I got this as well. These editions also have a little bookmark in them. You can also see what they look like without the dust jackets. And then on the inside, they look like that. Very pretty. Next is a book that I have mentioned on my channel multiple times. I picked up, or was sent, the latest Malice Domestic anthology, Mystery Most Devious, because my short story, Death at Everleigh Abbey, was published in this anthology. This is a mystery anthology that is released every year by Wildside Press to coincide with the Malice Domestic conference. Every year they have a theme. This year's theme was just general classic style mystery fiction. So since my story was included in the anthology, they sent me my own copy. Obviously, I'm biased because my story is in here, but I thought it was an enjoyable anthology, and if you pick it up, that would be really supportive of me and the other authors included in here. Other mystery books that I've acquired recently, I picked up Silent Nights. This is an anthology of Christmas mysteries edited by Martin Edwards. I've read 2 other collections that he edited. Martin Edwards is the current president of the Detection Club, which is a very famous mystery writers group in the UK. It was founded back in 1930 by some of Britain's most famous crime writers, including people like Agatha Christie, Dorothy L. Sayers, G.K. Chesterton, etc. So Martin Edwards edits these anthologies with classic crime stories by members of the Detection Club and other famous British writers of crime stories, as well as some who were maybe very popular back in the 1900s but aren't as well known today. So he compiles the stories together in these different themed anthologies. This is the 3rd in the series that I've picked up, so I think this December I'll probably have to read this for the Christmas murder mystery fun. I also, after many months of hoping and praying to get this specific edition, picked up The Crime at Black Dudley by Marjorie Allingham. This is the first in her Albert Campion mystery series. I really wanted to get this because for at least a year now, I've been wanting to film a themed vlog about the so-called queens of crime. So if you're a mystery reader, you've probably heard Agatha Christie referred to as the Queen of Crime, but actually back in the day, she was not the only one known by that nickname. It also applied to Marjorie Allingham, Dorothy L. Sayers, and Nigo Marsh, but I've wanted to film a vlog reading books by those other three women because I've never read any of their full-length novels. I've probably read a short story or two in some of these mystery anthologies, but I thought it would be fun to make a themed vlog just reading the other queens of crime and seeing, you know, what their books are all about. How do they hold up to Agatha Christie, who is obviously still probably the most famous mystery writer in history. So now that I have this book with this cool cover that I like, I have books by all three of them to read in that vlog. Hopefully I'll be able to fit it in the coming months because I've really been looking forward to it. And another book that I am so excited to finally have in my life is Daughters of Night by Laura Shepard Robinson. I have been looking for this book for quite some time. It is a UK title and they didn't have it at Barnes & Noble, so I was hoping and praying that Thrift Books would get it in stock, and they finally did, so of course I had to purchase it right away. This is a historical fiction murder mystery set in the late 1700s in London. The main character, Caroline, also known as Caro, she discovers the body of a murdered woman at the Pleasure Gardens in London at the Georgian Regency time period. They had several so-called pleasure gardens, Vauxhall being one, but there were others as well, where people could go to, you know, mingle. They could have dinner there. They would do fireworks shows, dancing. So it was kind of like a place that, you know, wealthy, influential people could go to have fun and let loose. Our main character discovers a murdered woman there, but because the woman was a sex worker, the Bow Street Runners, who were the precursor to Scotland Yard, they don't take the case that seriously due to her being a sex worker. And so Caro decides that she's gonna investigate the mystery if the police won't. I've been looking high and low for this book, and I'm so happy that I was finally able to purchase it. Really excited to read this one. I saw a beautiful Waterstones version the last time I was in England that had sprayed edges, and I'm still kind of sad that I didn't buy it. I would have if I'd had any room in my suitcase, but I did not, so I wasn't able to get that one. But I love this one too, even though the edges are not sprayed. I'm so happy to finally have it. I recently picked up 2 books at Little Free Libraries. I just posted that video, so I will link it in the card if you haven't seen it yet and you would like to. The 2 books that I picked up were The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, which will actually be a reread for me, and The Romanov Empress by C.W. Gortner. I'd never heard of this one before, but it sounded interesting and it has a very high Goodreads rating. This is a historical novel about Dagmar of Denmark, who later went by the name Alexandra Fyodrovna, and she married the future Tsar of Russia. I believe she was also the mother of Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, who was infamously murdered alongside his family by the Bolsheviks. So this sounded interesting to me. I really do love historical fiction, and I have this fascination with old royalty and their lives. I also don't know a lot about Russian history, so it's something I would like to learn more about, and I just thought this book, you know, it sounded interesting, so why not pick it up at the Little Free Library? And then I also picked up The Kite Runner because this is a book that I've wanted to reread. I read this when I was 14, when I was a freshman in high school, for assigned reading, and I remember enjoying it at the time and thinking it was a well-written book. Of course, that was almost 12 years ago at this point, and I'm sure I'll get more out of the book now as an older person with, you know, more experience of the world and just a more sophisticated understanding of things and life. So I have wanted to reread this, and I figured why not pick up the copy from the little free library so I would have it on hand. I also really loved A Thousand Splendid Suns by this author, which I read as an adult. Literally cried while reading that one. So excited to reread this at some point. I know it's gonna be an emotional read, but I'm excited to reread it as an adult. Another book I bought recently was Pandora's Jar, Women in the Greek Myths by Natalie Haynes. I've read 2 Natalie Haynes books before, and I really enjoyed both of them. This book is not a novel, it is stories of women and goddesses in the Greek myths with a bit of a feminist bent, and I believe it's also meant to be kind of witty, humorous, based on what it says in the back. So it talks about a lot of different women from mythology: Pandora, Jocasta, Helen, Medusa, Clytemnestra. So this will be an interesting read at some point. I don't claim to be a Greek mythology expert, but I do find it interesting, and I know I like this author. Oh, and I have another mystery that I forgot to show you earlier. So with my Barnes & Noble gift card, I picked up Nemesis by Agatha Christie, which is in the Miss Marple series. I absolutely adore these new Miss Marple covers. I guess they're not that new now. They're from a few years ago, but I love these covers. I don't need to tell you again because I mention it every time I haul one of these, but I love them and I want to have them all. This is the penultimate Miss Marple book, so I now have the entire series except for Sleeping Murder, which I'm gonna have to get my hands on at some point because I love these covers and I want to have them all. I want to collect them all and have them to love forever. So excited to have this. I don't know if I'm gonna read it anytime soon, but I had a gift card and I know that I wanted it, so I got it. All right, now the last book that I'm gonna mention in this haul kind of has a situation attached. So when I was at Barnes & Noble browsing, I was looking around in the general fiction section and I saw they had Howard's End by E.M. Forster. I watched the adaptation of that starring Haley Atwell and Matthew McFadden, which I enjoyed. And so I just kind of randomly picked up the book Howard's End and I started reading the first page. I found the writing style pretty accessible, so I thought to myself, hey, maybe I want to read this book. Ultimately, though, I didn't buy the copy I saw at Barnes & Noble because next to it, they had editions of some of E.M. Forster's other books in this really pretty edition. I'll put it on the screen so you can see. But I looked it up and Barnes & Noble did not have this edition of Howard's End near me. They had A Passage to India and like Maurice in this edition, but not Howard's End, the one that I wanted to buy. So I looked online to see, okay, can I get this edition that I really like anywhere? It said they had it on Thrift Books, so I ordered it. But what I ended up getting was this one. I think this is from the 70s. It has the old owner's name in it, which is kind of cool. This belonged to Robert Waldo at one point, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't the cover that was shown on the website. And I contacted Thrift Books customer support. They helped me in the past when I had an issue. They told me, well, if it doesn't look like the picture, there's nothing that we can do about that, but give us the ISBN numbers. And this actually did have a different ISBN number than the one that I'd ordered. In fact, I think this one was actually listed on the website as being more expensive. So They kind of slipped up and sent me a more expensive book than the one that I paid for. So, since they had different ISBN numbers, they said, okay, we'll send you the correct book. No need to return this one. You can keep it, which was nice of them. But even still, when they sent me the one with the correct ISBN, it still didn't look like what I wanted. So now I have these 2 editions of Howard's End, neither of which is what I thought I was ordering. Which is fine. I'm not mad at Thrift Books customer support. They gave me 2 books for the price of 1. It's just not what I wanted. So now I'm thinking about possibly trying to resell these at the used bookstore so I can recoup my losses and order the one that I actually want on like Amazon or something. Because that's the one that I really wanted. Like, if I wanted just any old edition, I would have used my Barnes & Noble gift card. So maybe I'll see if I can resell these, or at least resell one to get my money back. And then if they will buy one, I can put the other one in a little free library or something. But I just really wanted the other edition. Lesson learned. I love thrift books, but I don't think I'm going to order classics from them anymore because classics just go through so many editions. So when you order on thrift books, you don't know exactly what you're getting. They also sent me a version of Towards Zero by Agatha Christie that looked nothing like it did on the site, and I kind of hate that edition too. This one, which is again from the 70s, and it's butt ugly. I wanted the William Morrow paperback like all my other Christie books. So, lesson learned. Thrift books is great, but don't buy classics from them if you care about what edition you're getting. Because it may not be as advertised, and suddenly you have this like 70s paperback that you didn't want. Don't order classics from them if you're obsessed with aesthetics. So everybody, that is my book haul today. Those are all of the books that I bought recently. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a big thumbs up. It really does help me and my channel. Please also subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have an outstanding rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you next time.